Lanterns episode 2. Episode 2 finally gave us more of like the Green Lantern stuff that people wanted. The suit, the lore, Manhunters, Sinestro.
Got some
Let's
Easter eggs in this episode. First of all, the sheriff is from Gotham. That was the biggest one. That was the one I had to rewind real fast. Like, hold on, what? It seems like the whole coup with Sinestro has already happened, which we could kind of figure since we see him in jail in the previews, but got confirmed from the sheriff as well. Obviously, apparently it's a well-known thing that he already tried to overthrow the Guardians and killed one, and yada yada yada. Hal had to subdue him.
Did you see the exit for Central City during the little highway scene where John?
No, I did not pay attention to that. Central
Yeah.
City exit. Okay.
Yeah.
We was just talking about Central City today when we were reading
That's the only reason.
the synopsis for Gorilla Grive, People versus Gorilla Grive. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the only reason I knew it was.
Some world building here. I like it.
The episode here kind of still starts off with that grounded feeling, which I think is good because it gives everybody a good ground level to kind of get into Green Lantern. Like, obviously, the comic book fans, the casuals, the huge Green Lantern fans.
Mm-hmm.
I think episode 1 did a good job of starting us off at that ground level, but we're getting into we're getting into the Green Lantern of it all.
I mean, so far I feel like the balance has been pretty decent. At a certain point of this episode, I was like, all right, doing our investigation thing. And they never really let up on, in these 2 episodes, they've never really let up on the lanterns of it all. Right? We're constantly doing things with the ring. John was able to hold a bird construct without the ring from half the country away or wherever the hell he was at. We still stay into the sci-fi enough not to lose it. The lantern is in a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
There's enough balance between the very practical stuff, which is the crime investigation stuff that we're getting to, with the the science fiction stuff, the aliens, the Lantern Corps. He goes back to see Sinestro there at the end of the episode, and what we could assume is a prison for him. And it's like, while we are telling a very isolated crime investigation story, we're still putting building blocks out there for the broader universe, which I've really appreciated. So I think they've struck a pretty good balance.
We start off with John attempting to learn to fly, as you mentioned, and then he created the bird construct and it was able to keep it alive despite not being anywhere near the ring. Grabbing the lantern from the pocket dimension, it was visualizing himself in the suit when he grabbed it and looked in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And kind of how responsibly and earnestly he's kind of playing this whole thing. It's as if despite Hal fucking with him this entire time, he's still kind of earning this thing. And that's like relationship wise, that's kind of what I've been seeing. Like, the grandma said in the first episode that he's kind of like the backup QB, but like, I kind of feel like, at least story wise, maybe not literally, but like story wise, we're getting to a point where John is kind of earning this thing a little bit more.
They're pushing him to the forefront. And in terms of the backstory, they're doing enough to incorporate both of theirs. I think for John, we'll really see that pick up here in the next coming episodes, looking at the preview for next week. But they've given us just enough backstory from both of them to keep us interested in, like, okay, well, where's this perspective coming from? I wonder what happened here. I'm on the train right now that little boy might be Hal Jordan's, the sheriff's son.
The sheriff. Oh yeah. They've got a weird relationship going on.
Like almost like they dated before. Like he was sitting over listening. She was like, yeah, if that was happening, she said something like, if that was happening, my marriage would be going a lot smoother. And he was like, oh, your marriage not going smooth, huh? And it's like, I think they were together. That combined with the fact that like she was the only one who knew, didn't tell anybody that he died. It was very, very intimate thing with her and John. Yeah. I think there was a relationship. Like they're
flirting with each other. He's like, oh, you stayed here the entire time. She's like, oh, well, it's a good place to read the book.
Yeah, I was a good book. Yeah. Shut up, girl. But no, I think that's his son. I think they'll come all the way back to that in at some point
Okay,
because
I'll hold
I
you
mean
to it.
you got to think about it, right? It's a 10-year gap. He was there in 2006. Obviously, that's when he uploaded his conscious last from Nebraska. Then it was in there in 2016. That little boy was, I could say about 9, 10 years old. You know
Okay,
what I'm saying? Just
that would
saying.
also make sense as to why John having that touching moment with him teaching him how to throw the ball was a thing.
Was the thing, right? Yeah. It's dope. It's dope. It's
Because
dope.
otherwise, like, what the fuck was that? So aside from the whole Green Lantern side of it, just like that, how they kind of slowly doled out that lore, the mystery behind these aliens is slowly unraveling, as you mentioned before. You know, we're talking Manhunters, Guardians. Like we're setting the scene pretty big here. I guess that it can't be too big because you know forces outside of the Green Lantern Corps will probably intervene at some point. But like, how big does this whole thing actually become?
I mean, I don't know how far it spreads. Like, I don't know if we're going to need more than just the Lantern Corps to fit. Well, you shouldn't need more than the Lantern Corps. If you need more than the Lantern Corps, then we talking everybody. We talking Soups, talking about Batman.
Yeah.
I feel like they can't stretch out too far because there's so many undefined places. Like, yeah, it's cute to talk about Central City. It's fine to have a person from Gotham around. Doesn't make sense to go there or to really engage with those places unless the Flash and Batman are around. And we don't have
Right.
either one of those characters right now. So I think they'll stick at light mentions and things of that nature in terms of the settings, the alternate settings that we could have. But the characters, I think we for the most part seen everybody that's going to be involved with the exception of probably some more Guardians and Guy. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
expect to see a Superman show up. I don't expect to see Lex Luthor or anything like that. Even still, without the major appearances, it's good to still work those pieces into the narrative when you can. Those alternate places that we'll eventually see in the DCU. I've always preferred that type of storytelling.
So Hal puts on the suit earlier. He says the oath, and now we've got Sinestro sitting in the cell. In the trailer, we know Sinestro has this conversation with Hal that basically makes Hal admit that John's his replacement. First of all, I almost felt like Sinestro was about to tell me he just enjoyed some fava beans and a nice Chianti. He's definitely giving me Silence of the Lambs feeling. But also, nigga think he in jail with his ears to the streets like he's Big Meech Sinestro Knight or some shit. Like he's like, yeah, Manhunters, what the fuck ever, bro. But like, tell me about John Stewart. Like he about to get your plan time, my boy. Like what's happening here? Like, okay, all right, this is the intro to Sinestro.
Yeah, no, clearly he still has his ear to the ground. I wonder if he's connected to all this. Maybe he's the benefactor. I think it has to do. Right now, my running theory is that Grandma is the Manhunter,
Mm.
and that's who's actually backing all this shit is her. Could be off on that. Avon Sir, that's the lantern that passed. So he was talking about him. He was saying at the end there that he believed that he could have been bringing the Manhunter there to kill him because in Hal's mind, of course, the Guardians wouldn't protect the civilization wiping out as Manhunter. But I think he's going to get a rude awakening there when talking to Sinestro about his beloved Guardians there. I wonder if we're going to see that scene. I wonder if we're going to see Hal getting the ring.
I definitely see Grandma being the Manhunter because what other reason does she have to be spying on fucking John every chance she gets?
And
I mean, I
so in
guess it could
dissent
be
too.
for the husband, but then like there's still something there.
She's also so in dissent. She's also like edging John to like try to replace Hal and oh well, if you have to ask the question of whether or not you can trust him, then you already know the answer. Like, I don't know, man, that sounded a little oppish. Sounded like she's trying to drive a wedge.
Sure. Sure. So, okay, in the scene, Hal wants to know about Manhunters, right? He asks Sinestro about Manhunters.
Right.
And Sinestro basically alludes to the fact that the Manhunters are Hal's second biggest threat.
Oh,
So that means
the
there's
first threat was John Stewart. Remember he said he was like, He said it's your second biggest threat. So now tell me about John Stewart, implying that John Stewart will be his first biggest threat. Remember, there was
See,
something
I
in the first or the second teaser trailer where they're having that full blown conversation, and they were like, "So tell me who John Stewart actually is," and then Hal
he
has
says
to say,
his
"Oh, he's my
replacement.
replacement." Yeah, so that's the most pressing issue, or at least that Sinestro is trying to push, is Hal's potential fear of being replaced. See, the thing with Sinestro is his whole thing is harnessing fear, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
whole Yellow Lantern thing. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
he wants to harness fear. So his idea or his aim is more than likely to create some angst or some sort of anxiety in how that'll grow, and that'll potentially give him an opportunity to twist against Hal, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
um somehow, some way. But I think it was John Stewart was the number one for Sinestro.
So the only reason I asked it is because I do remember in the trailer that he says that, but my only thing was they obviously split that conversation here, and he
I think
doesn't
it's the same
specifically say.
conversation. It just ended before the end of episode 2 here.
Okay, because he doesn't specifically say it is John Stewart. He just says, "No, tell me about John Stewart." And I think I for a second I did think, okay, yeah, he could just be alluding to John Stewart being the first, but like I wasn't sure if you thought that would be the case as well. So, any other thoughts on episode 2?
No, no, that's it, man. Solid episode. So locked in for the season. We'll see where it goes. You guys give us your thoughts on episode 2 for season 1 of Lanterns. Come back next week. We'll be checking out episode 3, doing the same thing, same place, same day.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out our playlist now full of Lanterns reviews. It is episode 1, episode 2. Like you said, make sure you join us next week for episode 3 review. Peace.
Peace.